Slow and steady does not necessarily win the race. It's kind of funny to start off with a turtle and rabbit joke based on that age-old story of the tortoise and the hare? I don't know. I don't really remember it too well. I'm not that young anymore. But you know, the idea that the rabbit's just running on ahead and then the turtle takes his time, but then the rabbit slacks off along the way, and it's like, I don't know. It's just a kind of a crappy little rhyme. It doesn't explain anything. But I will say there is some value to slowing down. And let me be clear, I'm no expert on anything, but there's a true value to taking a moment, to slowing down, to taking a step back, to taking things at your own time and at your own pace. I think actually the rabbit one has some truth to that, in that it shows that kind of like if you're just running on forward, you're going to tire yourself out eventually. You're going to get exhausted. You're going to like pass out like straight up in the like you're going to be like, oh yeah, let's start this game. Yeah, it's like 9 o'clock. I'm not even thinking about my bedtime. Let's start this game. And then like minutes into the game, you're going to be like half asleep because you're just all go all the time, Energizer Bunny. Now, that's fine. There's a lot of people that sort of, that's their personality. That's how they run in this world. They just on to the next thing, on to the next thing, next experience. And it can be a really great thing. It's a strength. It has a value to it. So the rabbit in that situation actually has some positives, you know? You can run on ahead, win that race, you know? If you don't, if you're easy, even if you're easy paced enough, you can get there. And you'll get to the finish line before a lot of other people, especially on a shorter race. And then you'll jump onto the next experience and onto the next experience. And you'll get to see a lot of things that people who are going the slow and steady path don't get to see. But I feel like in this society, we do definitely value that fast path to success. What's the shortcut I can take? Where can I go to get here? But the slow and steady also has its values. You know, you could take the slow path towards sort of your own, like, oh, well, I'll just stay in this job for 20 years and I'll work my way up the line, and yeah, that'll get you somewhere. I think it's less important about focusing on the job so much as all of the details, all of the fine print sort of like slow moving, all that monotonous process that you go through when you're going through something like that. You work through each and every little step of something, and you get to know, like, I guess it's a knowledge thing. You do really learn a lot more of an overall process. Whereas if you're always jumping on the next thing, say, let's take jobs for example, you jump from like low-level worker to up to manager, and then up to this guy, and then up to CEO at the way top eventually. You know, you're not getting, you know, you only had what, like let's say you had a few years, 5 years maybe in that lower level job. You only understand that lower level job to a degree of that 5 years of experience. Whereas someone who's been there for years, even one of the managers down at the lowest level positions, would understand the interests, the values, the needs of that lower level so much more than someone who just sped on through there up to the top. In addition, I would say this is true about everything else too. Dealing with every little piece of your life. You know, we tend to focus on one or two different things that we think society is finds the most valuable, or we tend to focus on just the things that we're interested in and say fuck it to society or whatever, you know? But the beautiful thing is, you can go any fucking direction you want, and you will still get value from it. There is no nothing, valueless dead ends. There is no wasting time. Because, you know, let's say you sit around dealing with yourself, you sit around trying to relax, trying to deal with things, you'll find out a lot over the course of time that you're doing that. So you spend most of your time doing that, you never get a fucking job ever. Well, you're still learning how to be a person, or be yourself in that experience. Even if you're fucking munching on fucking popcorn and pizza and watching TV all day. You might get fat, you wouldn't have good body, you know, your emotions could be in question too, if you're eating all that shit. And not like, you know, like there's a certain degree that your emotions are fed by your body, and your body's like, I feel like shit right now, physically. And then your mind's like, why does my body feel so crappy? If you're paying that much attention. And then your emotions are just like, oh, fuck, I feel really crappy. And then it just cycles over and over and over again. But, you know, if you have a weird balance where you're like dealing with the body, dealing with yourself, dealing with everything that has to do with you, you know, exercising, eating good, and then, in whatever way that means to you, keep in mind, you don't have to follow a prescribed, structured road to that if you don't want to. I didn't. You know, up until a few years ago, I was eating pizza too. The only thing that stopped me is me listening to my body rather than me saying, well, I need to eat what this diet tells me to eat. No. I'm going to listen to what my body says, and my body's going to be like, Kevin, I kind of want a little bit more of this. So, Kevin, that's a little too much rice today. And my body is not some weird Mickey Mouse little girl, but, just pause to take a moment and think about that. Hi, Kevin! I'm your body! Today we're gonna be really happy! Oh. But, you know, whatever works. And this slow and steady thing, say you're that type of person. You're focusing on just the things that involve you. You're not working a day in your life. Eventually you're going to be, you know, become, you know, especially, like, even if you're the kind of person, you're like, oh, I'm spending time with my friends every day, or with people I don't know, or commenting on these YouTube videos and getting really angry at these people who are saying stupid shit. Eventually, you're gonna be that person who's you know, you're experienced in you know, yourself, sort of self-stability, strong, grounded personality, understanding of who you are and why you do things, where you go, and, you know, the interpersonal, anything that you've put time into, you will have gained experience from. Even the simple experience of, like, trying to find ways to relax will get you good at relaxing. Whereas Lord knows how many people in this world don't know how to relax. And if you think about it, that's a huge problem, because if you don't know how to relax, you don't ever get rest. You're always tired, your eyes are always droopy, you're always, you know, and you're never at full 100% strength when you need to be. So then you're always doing a half-assed job, you're always feeling inferior to what you want to do, you're feeling overwhelmed by certain circumstances, and you're never getting anything done. So, learning how to rest, that's pretty fucking important. You can't just go on and say to that person, you know, so if you have a really high activity kind of, let's go, go, go family, and you're a kid, and they're telling you need to keep going. No, you have reasons to slow down. You have reasons to stop. You have reasons to sit on that fucking couch if you need to. But I would recommend, at the very least, if you're trying to relax, Don't sit on that couch. It's like an illusion of comfort. It is not the most comfortable position you can get yourself in. It's a start. If you have nowhere else to go, and that's your simplest place to learn comfort and relaxation, go to that. Yeah, go to that couch. It's fine. But you'll quickly find that certain parts of your body can start to feel more tense than others sitting on that couch. And you'll quickly start to find that certain things need a little movement. Maybe you need to lie down. Maybe you need to focus on the exact area you want to stretch out. What's uncomfortable here? What's not relaxed? What's tense? What's tense? Let's work with that, you know? So that stuff's valuable. And so is every other little part of the experience. So no matter what you're doing, take your time. Slow and steady might not win the race, but it'll damn well get you enough so that you can catch quite a lot up to that rabbit, maybe like few years down the line when you're like, hey, I know all these details that you just kind of like skipped past because you're running forward. You know, it's like I got a lot of things along the way, like I took in my experience and you just ran ahead to the next one. So, slow and steady, a good thing, but it does not win the race. All the time. Sometimes.